Hey guys, I'm Judy.
And I'm Haley, and this is Noodle Brains.
So excited to be here. I'm glad you asked me to do this.
No problem. I wanted to get to talk to somebody that I knew I could hold a conversation with, and just to kind of talk about mental health and what it means to us. We're both very big on that.
We are.
It is very big on our missions in life, and we're both very chill too, so it kind of makes it more fun. As you can see, we don't have our shoes on.
So take your shoes off and grab a drink.
Judy is drinking sugar-free Kool-Aid right now, and I have water. So I think we've talked about it, and we really want to discuss our mission in life. So if you'd like to go ahead and talk about yours.
So here I own Snead's Farmhouse Sanctuary. I've been open since 2020. And when I started it, I had a mission. First of all, when I became a nonprofit, we had to have a mission statement. And my mission statement is to give back what God has blessed me with. And I have this beautiful farm with all kinds of animals. My YouTube channel is Snead's Farmhouse Sanctuary. And in order for me to give back, I like to teach kids about how my animals live in harmony on my farm, and how they don't discriminate against each other, and how they don't know they're any different. There's a 400-pound pig in with a 1,500-pound cow, and they're friends. And so I teach people that come to my farm how that happens. The whole mental health background is because of my own struggles. My struggle with mental health started when I was a senior in high school, and it just kind of escalated from there. And after tons of therapy and the right little cocktail, I've learned how to get to mindfulness. And I like to talk about mental health simply because it seems to me, I don't know about you, you're in high school still, and I'm in my 50s. People don't like to talk about mental health.
Definitely true.
But you know, it's like this. If someone has a diagnosis of cancer, like, people understand that.
Yeah.
But if you have a diagnosis such as anxiety, depression, things like that, people are quick to tell you to get over it. You need to stop.
I want to say one thing I definitely think correlates to that is people that are like, oh, I'm depressed, just because they're sad. And it's like, that's not the same thing.
No.
Yeah, you can be depressed and not have depression, but I think with mental health becoming more normalized, that within that there's people that constantly run around, they're like, oh, my life's so bad, I'm so depressed. And it's like, well, you have to get help, and you have to really know, like, hey, is this actually true? Because you can think you have cancer.
Right.
You could think that, and if you're going around telling everybody that, that's wrong. You need to know.
You need a diagnosis.
And I think that's what brings the stigma around mental health and stuff, is people constantly saying they have it and they don't.
Right. Well, I've learned over the past years that there's a difference in clinical depression and situational depression.
Absolutely.
And learning the difference in the two. And like you just said, is this a situational depressed? Are you depressed because you failed your test and you know that you're fixing to get a bad grade and you're depressed about it? Or is it a depression that creeps up that's keeping you and robbing you from going out with your friends and stuff like that? That's the difference in clinical depression versus situational.
Well, because if you think about it, when my grandpa passed, I slipped into a depression just like anyone probably would, but my situation ended up being a lot different because more things added to that, and I got diagnosed when I was 11. Mm-hmm. Well, my family was not really big on medicine. They didn't really think mental health medication was a good thing. They thought, they thought it was like from the devil.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people do. My dad had a friend that had changed his medication, and he took his own life.
Oh, goodness.
So my family, they were scared, and that's okay. Like, I would probably be scared too if my kid wanted to do that, and I just lost a friend to it. So I just turned 17, so I didn't start medication until February of this year. I went 5, almost 6 years unmedicated with depression and anxiety. I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder and depression, and I started medication. Which medication is definitely really difficult, because just like any other sickness, like you have to find the right medication. And the thing is with depression is the same thing will not work for everybody.
No.
So we've went through tons of medications. We finally found one that studied things out, and with it actually helping, it's more of my mission statement is, just because you have to take medicine, that's okay. Like, the negative stigma behind medication is just awful.
Yeah.
Like, people will look at you and be like, you just need to be tougher.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, when you go to the doctor and you get told, hey, you have strep throat, you get a shot, you go home with your big pink amoxicillin, and you take all that, but you're going to tell me, just because you don't agree with it, that I don't need to be on medicine.
Yeah.
Which isn't right. And that's why, like, I really wanted to start this is people need to know, like, it's okay to go to therapy. It's okay to go see a psychiatrist. It's okay to do things that are going to help you be a better you.
Right.
But you never need to tear someone down because you don't agree with it.
Right.
That's one thing I just cannot stand.
It seems like with the whole mental health diagnosis, like I said in the beginning, is it's misunderstood.
Yes.
And especially it's misunderstood, like for example, if someone has bipolar, immediately your brain goes, oh my gosh, I don't want my kids around them, or oh my gosh, they're about to murder someone, or oh my gosh, they're about to rob a bank. Like, they automatically go to that place. Same with schizophrenia. People are scared because they don't understand schizophrenia and all that's behind it. And I feel like that it's something that if you've not had it in your family, it's hard to understand the realm of what's going on with that person. And with mental health, it's just like addiction. You know how they say with addiction, to me, addiction's a mental health issue too, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But you know how they say with addiction that you have to hit rock bottom before you go up? I feel like it's the same with depression.
Absolutely.
Like, you have to hit rock bottom and hate your life so much and run after recovery. And what does recovery look like for you? It's going to look different on you than it's going to look on me. And for me personally, I had to run after therapy, because in the beginning I was doing group therapy. I was getting nowhere. Like, I hated I didn't like being in a group listening to other people's problems. I'm like, I have my own problems.
I feel that. Like, I don't think I would be good at group therapy either, because it's like you're trying to work on you. I don't want to have to hear other people's, because that might make it worse on you, because then you're going to be like, well, maybe I shouldn't be feeling bad because Susan over here just lost her kid.
Right.
And it's like, well, my situation might not be as bad, but I'm still upset.
Right.
And I think that's another thing is, like, some days are worse than others.
Yes.
Like, I'll have days that I feel perfectly fine. I don't have a care in the world. And then there's other days it's like I can't get out of bed. I can't go take a shower. And I just kind of look at everything around me and it's like, is this worth it?
Have you heard of seasonal depression?
Yes.
Do you have that?
Yeah.
I do too.
Like, during the summer, I do worse in the summer. In the winter, I would like to think, because in the summer I took summer classes this year.
Yeah.
Horrible mistake. It was awful, because it was like, that's supposed to be your one time you don't have to stress out.
Yeah.
But then it was like I had to stress out.
Right.
All I ever do is stress out. And I think with that, it was more, if I'm not constantly doing something, I have to either be constantly going or doing nothing.
Yeah.
I can't do in the middle. I can't, like, here, I'll do something here. No. I have to either be busting my butt all day, doing work, or, doing with my ducks and chickens, like working with them, or it's like I have to be laying around all day.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing it makes them not believe in it is, well, yesterday you were perfectly fine, and today you want to act like you're all sad. And it's like, well, no, that's just how I feel today.
Right.
And I think a lot of people don't get that, so they just think that it's not real.
Right. And I think, too, like with me, I learned that this word is called dialect. And what it is like, let me think of a situation. Like, Shane is the best husband in the whole wide world. He is the worst husband ever. Like, going from one extreme to the other within, like, a day period, and learning that those emotions that you're feeling are not like, he's not the worst husband ever, he's not the best husband ever, he's somewhere in between. And learning how to get my mind is, this is not the worst day in the whole world, but it's not the best, I'm somewhere right here. And learning how to recognize that and be able to balance that, to go, okay, I'm not going to be extreme this way or down extreme this way. Learning where to be okay, like just to be okay.
Yeah, and I think that's the hard part, though.
It is
trying to think, like, you know, I had a situation not too long ago where it just felt like everything was going wrong. My dog, I had to bring her to the vet because she decided to eat a whole bag of treats.
Oh no.
So that was like $70-something.
Yeah.
And then it was like I had something else go wrong and I had to pay for that. And sometimes it's like, you know, you feel like everything's crashing down.
Yeah.
But realistically, everything's fine. You're perfectly fine.
Right.
You're okay, but sometimes you can't see that till the next day.
Right.
Because you get so overwhelmed and overstimulated with the situation you're in that it's like, in that moment, it seems like everything is just falling apart and you're
Right.
not okay. But 4 hours later, or like the next morning, you're like, why was I overreacting about something that small? It's not that big of a deal.
But in the time, it was like so
Yeah.
real, you know?
And I think that's one thing that makes having a relationship with mental health really difficult.
Right.
Because I will say, like, having a boyfriend that hasn't had to deal with mental health, it's definitely a challenge having to learn, for him to have to learn to deal with that, which I think that over the year or so we've been together, it's gotten way better. Because, like, at first it's like, well, why are you upset right now? And I'm like, well, I don't know. And then it's like, he would feel almost like bad, and he would feel like I just didn't want to tell him. But now he knows, like, sometimes I don't know why I'm upset.
Exactly.
So I do think it can also affect your relationship with people.
It has definitely affected my relationship with Shane, because Shane doesn't come from that either. He doesn't fight depression. He wakes up the same every single day, and I'm like, how does he do that? Like, I don't do that.
You know, men, their hormones in their body reset every day.
Yeah.
Women don't.
Right.
So women go through a monthly cycle of different hormones every single day,
Right.
depending on where they are in their cycles. So you will never feel the same like today as you will tomorrow. That's
Right.
just not how it works.
Right.
As a woman, but as men, they don't understand that because their hormones reset 24 hours every single day.
But you know, where we don't understand ourselves with depression, why we feel the way we do, we can't expect them to. Because if
Yeah.
we don't understand ourselves,
Yeah.
how are they going to understand?
That's another thing, is like, you want them to understand, but you
Yes.
don't even understand.
No. And I, like, a lot of times when Shane and I first got together, he would do the same thing. He would say, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know, just having a bad day. Well, get up. Get out of the bed. I mean, this is ridiculous. We have things to do. And I'm thinking, what is he talking? Like, really? But what I realized is he's never dealt with depression, so he doesn't quite understand me. But as the years have gone on, I'm like, I need a minute. I have to go. I just need a minute. And he understands what that means. But he is quick to say, you need to just stop. Don't you love it when you're in that moment and they're like, you just need to stop?
Yeah,
And you're like, dude, if I could stop, I'd quit.
Yeah, like, you think I chose this? Like,
Yeah.
yes, I wake up every day and I'm like, I want to make my life miserable. I struggle with that. I get really overstimulated. Like, if I'm having a rough day, and I know I dealt with this last night at Andrew's. We'll be in his room, and if I get too hot, I get to the point that I'm like shaking, and I'm like, listen, like, I just need to leave this room. Like, I want to go home. I just want to lay down. Like, I can't do this right now.
Yeah.
Because if I get too hot, or I put on something that doesn't feel right, if I'm eating something, or if it's too loud where I am, I get really overstimulated, and I'm like, I can't do this right now.
Yeah.
And it just, like, you're shaking, and you're just like, what am I supposed to do? And then, an hour later, you're fine.
Well, I'm very outgoing. I have
Yeah.
people on my farm touring most days. And you would think that I'm a people person, right? I'm not.
That's exactly
I
how
am not. I
am.
want to be by myself. I want to be homebody. I don't want to go to the grocery store. I don't like it. Crowds frighten me. And you would think, because I'm so outgoing, that I would be okay with that. But going to church scares me. Like, it does. I don't want people to know my business. I don't want people to know that I struggle with mental health. Like, I've always been like that. And so, like, it's always been a struggle for me. And you would think I would be the complete opposite. You think I would be, like, loving being in a crowd. Because I love to be in front of people. I love to stand and speak to people. Like, because I'm in my element. But I don't want to be in a crowd.
Absolutely. Like, doing pageants and stuff, or theater, like, I can get up on a stage, sing, talk in front of a huge crowd. But you put me in the middle of it, and I'm having to talk to 8 different people. No.
Yeah.
I can't do that. It makes me, it's scary.
It is.
Because it's like, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to do the wrong thing. But see, with theater, like, they don't know what you're supposed to say or do.
Right.
And you're doing it, so, like, if you mess up, you can cover it.
Yeah.
And then with, like, pageants, doing a speech, you have those prepared. And then with, like, on-stage questions, it's not really giving you the opportunity to say something, like, dumb that you're going to regret later.
Right.
Like, I overshare. That's my
too.
problem.
I do too.
I could sit there and talk to you for the first time, and you'll know everything about my life within 3 minutes, and then you're like, yeah, we're not going to talk to her again. And that's something I struggle with. So it's like, if I go out, I have to talk to people, but it's like, you have to know, hey, I need to say this. I don't need to say that. And it's a lot.
It is a lot.
When you can just stay
when
home
you're
in
open
bed.
like you and I are, because I'm the same way. I open up very quickly, and I'm a people pleaser, and I want people to like me. When people don't like me, it hurts my feelings. So
Yeah.
I will end up like agreeing with them because I don't want to cause an argument, and then it causes me anxiety. Like, it's not good. So I'd rather be by myself.
Yeah, and I think another thing is, especially being in high school and, like, having to deal with trauma and everything, it's more like, you know, you don't want to deal with people saying rude things about you or being able to hear it. It's just, I don't want to do that.
Right.
I don't want to hear the rude things people say about me. So it's like, if I keep myself from talking to them and I seclude myself from everybody at my high school and I just talk to, like, a select people, no one, like, I don't have to hear what they say about me.
Right.
And that's something that really hurts me is, you know, with the pageant, I had a lot of people mad at me and just rude because I won.
Yeah.
And they're still mad and being rude to me and everything, and it's hard.
Well, you know, when I first got my farm and started a business with my farm and became a nonprofit, probably 10 of my closest farm friends turned their back on me. And parts of me wonder, like, now that I've been doing it for this long and they've seen the accomplishments, I wonder if they still think the same about me as they did back then. And it was hard to listen to people go, she's not a nonprofit, she don't know anything about chickens. Like, the hard things, like you with your pageant, the ridicule that you get, it's hard to hear.
It is, especially when the thing about the pageant that was so hard is, like, it was something I had done for myself. Like,
Yeah.
I had done something and I was really proud of myself, and the only reason I did the pageant was to talk about mental health.
Yeah.
And the negative stigma behind medication, and that's why I did it. I wanted to get my voice out there.
Yeah.
And I won. And it was so hard because everybody's like, well, this person should have won and you don't deserve it. And it's like, you know, I couldn't have my 10 seconds of glory because it was everybody saying I shouldn't have won. So then it was like, you know, I was happy I won, but at the same time, the next day, I was so upset. I was crying because it's like, you know, why can't people just be happy for me?
Yeah.
So that was definitely
A lot
really
of
hard.
it's jealousy.
Well, yeah, because if you go into something and you're like, oh, I'm going to win this. I'm going to win. Everyone else is going to lose.
You were shocked that you won.
Yeah.
I could.
Well, that's the thing. I haven't done a pageant since I was like 12 or 13, and then I go and do the pageant and I win. I didn't think I was going to win.
Right.
I said, like, when I signed up a month before the pageant. Everyone else had been practicing for like a year, 6 months. They've been practicing for a while because it's a big deal to them. For me, it was like, I want to talk about something I'm really passionate about.
Right.
And that right there, I think, is what won it for me.
Yeah.
is in my interview, they were like, well, why are you here? And it's like, just to talk about mental health. I want people to realize that the stigma, it isn't real. It shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to take medicine, and you're just as strong, if not stronger, because you're choosing to do something that is going to benefit you, even though the entire world is against it.
Yeah. Well, you know, a lot of successful people, like, if you go and just do a little, let's just talk about bipolar. You would be surprised at all the people that have bipolar that are so successful, you know? And people that have anxiety that's so successful. And like, when you learn how to use your illness to your advantage, you know, that's when you really shine.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do. And it's taken, I mean, I'm 52, and this started when I was your age. And that's why when you asked me to do this, at first I was hesitant about it, because I was thinking, Judy, when do you have time? And I thought in my head, no, I need to make time, because what you're doing, wanting to talk about mental health, is dear to my heart. And to think about when I was 17, I tried to take my own life. And here you are. Are you 17 yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Here you are, 17, and I'm thinking, wow. I look at you, and you are so ahead of the ball game compared to where I was at 17, because you are talking about your illness, and you're talking about your struggles, and by talking about it, you're helping someone else.
And that's kind of my whole thing is, you know, I went through it really bad when I was younger. So I went through like the suicidal stage a lot more when I was 11 into my early teens.
Yeah.
So it's like, I've gotten past the really hard part. Now it's just the lasting effects I'll have my whole life.
Right.
But it's like, if I can talk about my illness, there's going to be people that are like, oh, she's faking it, or oh, she just needs to get over it. But it's like, yeah, that might be how, if that's how 100 people feel, okay. But if there's one kid that I can help go to their parents and be like, Mom, Dad, I need help, that's what I want.
Yeah.
Like, I want this 8, this 10, this 40-year-old person to be able to go to their spouse, their mom, their dad, their sister, their cousin, and be like, I think I need help.
Yeah.
I want to go to therapy. I want to go talk to somebody, because your parents don't know sometimes.
Right. Mine didn't.
My mom knew when it got to the extreme point that it did. And then over the years, it was like, she kind of thought it went away, but realistically, it didn't. I just got better at hiding it. And I got to the point where, like, I wasn't eating.
Yeah.
Like, I was eating maybe once a day, but it was snacks. Like, I would eat a bag of chips.
Yeah.
And because I was just, like, I hated myself, and I hated everything about me, and I was like, I don't deserve to even eat. So it was like when my mom finally found out, like, oh, you have no energy all the time, like, are you eating? She started to think, like, oh, it's not gone.
Right.
And then around December of 2022, last year, it was getting really bad. I was struggling, and Andrew, my boyfriend, and my mom kind of talked about it with me, and they're like, I think you need to go back to therapy. I think you need to go get put on medicine. Like, you're not you.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, I was able to get to talk to them about something like that. So it's like, I know some people don't have that relationship with their parents.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to give them the strength and the courage to be able to go up and be like, hey, I can't do this anymore. Like, I need help.
Right.
And I also do this because parents need to know, hey, it's okay for your kid to be depressed.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Like, everything's going to be okay in the long run.
Right.
So I think it's also good for them.
Teaching a kid, like, if I could go back to my younger self, like, learning how to deal with the obstacles that I was dealing with, that I struggled with, if I could have just had the tools in my pocket. But parts of me go, was I mature enough to be able to have those tools, to understand them, to know how to deal with it? And, you know, I often sometimes find my fuse real small for people within, like, other people in my family that have mental health problems. And like my stepdad, for example, has severe anxiety. Like I can't go to the drive-through, and that seems so dumb to me. Like, why can't you go through the drive-through? And see how like it's taken me a minute to go, okay, Judy, stop. It is a serious anxiety attack when he goes through the drive-through. He literally can't do it. And it seems so dumb to me, but it's so real to him where, it's hard to see that. But learning how to recognize it and go, it's okay. I'll go through the drive-through. You stay here. I'll go through the drive-through.
Yeah, and I think that is hard. Is like normal people that don't struggle with mental health might look at some things you and I do and they're like, oh, that's stupid. But we can look at people that also have mental health that could be worse than ours, and we're like, well, that's stupid.
That is.
But none of it is.
It's not stupid.
How you feel is valid.
Exactly.
This is stupid, but if like there's stepping stones, I have to step on every one.
Yeah.
If there's like a pole and me and somebody's walking, I have to walk on the same side. I can't do it.
Yeah.
There's just certain things that might seem silly, but I just have to do it like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I get it. Well, I'm so glad that we were able to talk and share these things, because it's hard to talk. It's easy to talk about other people's problems, but sometimes it's hard to talk about our own.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we're going to be able to do these series and be able to talk about real things that are hard to talk about.
Yeah, I think it's good to kind of show people what's going on and how real it can be, but how you can overcome it. Because sometimes it feels like, I don't think I'll be able to do this.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll overcome it, but then it's like, I think I can do it. Like,
Yeah.
I think I can get through this, and I think it'll be okay.
And I hope through this podcast that I can relate to some people, or some people can relate to me being 52 and going, you know what, it's not too late.
It's not. It never is.
It's not too late to get help. It is not too late. And it's not too late to change your life and to run after happiness. And sometimes changing your ways is like completely changing your whole entire life, which is what I did. And look at the end results. I'm so happy with me. I am so happy with me. And I think that sometimes when people get up of age, like myself, they think, oh, it's too late. I'm too late. I've screwed my life up. I'll never be happy. My marriage is awful. No, it's not. It's not too late to fix you.
It's never too late. You
No.
can always, it doesn't matter if you're 15 or you're 70.
Yeah.
Like, if you really want to change your life around, you can do that.
Amen.
But you have to be willing to do that.
And I think it's cool how you're 17 and I'm 52, and we can come together and talk about these things that we both struggle with. I mean, even though our age is big difference, but we both struggle,
Yeah.
And it's not that once you change your life and come happy, everything's great and it's all over with. No, it is a daily work.
Yes.
You have to work at it every single day. It's a lifestyle change. It's not like you go to therapy and bam, you're better, or you get on a medication and bam, you're better. No. You have to wake up and work at it every single day.
One thing I definitely have had to change is, don't talk to those negative people.
Yeah.
I would rather have my boyfriend and my best friend.
Right.
Than have 800 friends and all
Amen.
these different friend groups. But if they're not making me happy, why would I want to be friends with them?
It's just like I said in the beginning when I started Snead's Farmhouse, all the negative people. And I literally had to elbow them out of the way because I knew where I was going with this. And I had to elbow, because I knew that this farm started not because of me, but it was because of God's will. And I knew that I had to get these negative people out of my life to get to where I'm going. And what a beautiful place it is from getting negative people out of my life.
It really is.
And you have just this small circle. And it's so wonderful because you know you can depend on those people and they got your back.
And it's always positive when you're around those people.
Mm-hmm.
And I like what you said about it's not like every day is not going to be great. It's not. Because with negativity, I don't really care. I don't care what anyone says. And this might just be me, but you could give me 1,000 emails, 1,000 notes, 1,000 text messages, telling me that you're proud of me and that you love me and that I'm doing great, but that one negative comment, it's gonna hurt.
It does.
And that's okay because we're human. But I think, like, the best thing you can do is just, like, pray for them and be like, you know, I hope they realize that what they're saying isn't going to help them.
Right.
Because I don't get negativity. Yeah. Be nice to everybody.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you don't agree with what they're doing.
Well, that's what I teach in my farm, is how we can all be raised differently, have different color, have different views, different opinions, but we can all get along, because you might feel one way and I might feel a total different way, and I need to respect how you feel, because what you feel is not wrong. It just is not what I agree with, and that's okay. God made us totally different.
Yeah, and that's one thing is, like, I'll never agree with everything that my mom agrees with or that Andrew agrees with, but I can definitely try to see their point. And we can come to an understanding about something.
Yeah.
Andrew, he has some things that just have to be this certain way. Kind of like the thing you talked about this morning with the extension cord and everything. Andrew might have to eat something a certain way. And I'm like, why would you do it like that? Why don't you just do it like this? And that's okay. It's okay to have different preferences.
Right.
And some people don't get that.
Well, there's certain things that people, like, it's like you don't get on the subject about abortion or politics or things like that, because it becomes a debate that, like, people have to prove their point.
But it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be that way. You know?
There's a lot of people that think that you can't be in a relationship if you have different viewpoints. You definitely can.
Yeah.
You just have to learn to be mature enough to be like, you know what? We don't agree on this.
But it's okay.
But it's okay, because guess what? It's never going to affect us.
Right.
Like,
right.
This one disagreement, we don't have to let it affect us.
Right.
But I know I was going to say, Andrew, he can't stand things being on the bed. And when we went on vacation, we had a room, and when I get ready, I throw things on the bed. You can probably agree, like, I wear the same pajamas, like, every night for, like, 3 or 4 nights, then I change them. So I'll put my PJs on the bed. Right? Because I'm not throwing them in the floor. I'm going to throw them on the bed, and I'll change back into them. And then it's like, well, let me lay this on the bed. But because at home, my bed has, like, a ton of stuffed animals, like, a ton of pillows, has everything on it. It'll have my laptop on it, a book, everything's on it. His bed, nothing. Nothing's on it. He's got his comforter, which he sleeps on. He doesn't sleep under the comforter. He sleeps on top of it. Yeah, that's weird.
That's weird.
Yeah. Sleeps on top of the comforter.
What are y'all gonna do if you get married one day?
He's gonna sleep under the comforter. That's what's gonna happen. No, he has his bed just like there's a throw blanket and a pillow on it. That's what he sleeps with.
So he just puts the throw blanket over him and sleeps on the comforter.
Mm-hmm. See, I sleep with a weighted blanket and a throw blanket, but I used to sleep with a comforter. But it's like he cannot stand with anything's on the bed. So at the beach, he'd be like, and he does not have anxiety, but I give him anxiety when I do that. And I'm like, what? Like, it'll be cleaned off when we go to bed. And he's like, just looking at it bothers me. And I'm like, just get over it. He's like, Haley, you can't say that. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Because, like, it don't bother me.
Yeah.
At all. I'm like, I'll just take it all off before I go to sleep.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, like, your bed doesn't need to be dirty. Like, that is what you sleep on. I'm like, it's not dirty. It just has, like,
does make
8 things on it.
It kind of does make sense if you think about it.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know why. Like, I have all these stuffed animals on my bed, and it doesn't bother me at all. But stuff like that does.
In the future, if y'all were to get married, are you gonna respect him and keep your bed, like, perfect?
I'll definitely try, but I think it's more of like a... It's more like a meet in the middle. It's more
like, are your pajamas going to be able to go on the bed? You know, you'll have to put them in the drawer.
My PJs are going on the bed. They're going on the bed. I'll hide them under the comforter, but they're going on the bed.
I can see him throwing them away when you do that.
Oh, he definitely would. He'd be like, you ain't going to have these no more. I'd be like, where's my PJs? Oh, well, I don't know. Because he would definitely do that. Look, he's smiling over there.
That's so funny.
But there definitely is, like, some things people that kind of goes back to, like, the drive-through thing. Like, some
Yeah.
people just have their own things, and his is definitely keeping the bed clean.
Yeah.
Because I don't do that.
Yeah.
Do you keep your bed clean?
No.
See, I think it's a girl thing.
He would have total anxiety if he walked in my house.
Well, I think it's a girl thing.
It is a girl thing.
Like, when you're getting ready, you're like, you'll take these outfits out, and you'll lay them all on your bed. And it's like, okay, well, I'm going to wear this. And then you put it on, you're like, I don't like
No.
that. So you put it back on the hanger, but you lay it on your bed because you're like, well, I'm going to hang that up. Well, then you're like, oh, crap, I got to leave in 5 minutes. So you have everything ready, and you're like, I'll put those up when I get home. And that's how we were at the beach. Like, I'd be getting ready, and I'd have all these outfits on the bed, and I'd have, like, I'd set my makeup box on the bed. And then we get back, and he's like, why is everything on the bed? And I'm like, oh, that's my bad. You know what? Like, I'll have a towel on the bed from when I got out of the shower and stuff, and he can't
That's
do
a
that.
big no-no. I bet.
Then he's like, you put your hair towel on the bed, and now part of the bed's wet. And I'm like, it's fine. Like, the bed's okay. It'll be fine. He can't stand that. But it's funny.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like,
Well, that's give and take of a relationship.
yeah, and it's like, it's kind
You
of
have
nice.
to be mindful that drives him crazy and be better at doing that.
Yeah, while he also has to be mindful that, you know, when you've done something one way your entire life, it's hard to break that.
It is.
And I think that's kind of like the nice part of a relationship is trying to learn to break bad habits with each other.
Right.
So,
Right. Well, thank y'all for joining us.
yeah, we had a lot of fun. We'll definitely record probably next week.
Yes.
And whenever we find out when this drops, we'll start consistently doing it on the same day at the same time. So you can check Judy out on all of her socials. Do you want to tell them what they are?
Snead's Farmhouse Sanctuary. I'm on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram.
And she's on TikTok.
I
Don't let her
am.
forget that.
I am on TikTok.
I don't really do a lot of social media. I do Facebook, but that's more like, I guess, private, I guess.
Yeah.
But you can definitely tune in here. And if you don't have time to watch, you can go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and what else is there? iHeartRadio, is it on that? I think it's on that too. So there are definitely more ways to watch us if you would like. So we will definitely see you guys next week. And this was a lot of fun. If you have any topics you'd like us to discuss, just comment them down below. Or we have an email, which is noodlebrainspodcast@gmail.com.
Wow.
Yeah, we made an email.
We'll put it in the link.
Yes, we will do that. And you can email us if you have anything you want us to talk about. Or you can just comment down below. And I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next week. So bye guys.
This is about give and take. And my stepdad's decided that he is leaving.
He is getting on the golf cart and going to the farm.
And so it doesn't matter that we're recording.
He's got things he has to do.